Hey everyone. Today I wanted to make a video, simple video about my experience about recent ultimates we cleared. Just a disclaimer: this is non-scripted. This is just me talking. I just wrote some points on what I want to talk about, but yeah, this is not scripted, so non-scripted one take. So. Recently we cleared the Ucob and Uwu. Those are my very first ultimate that we cleared, and it was really fun. Really enjoyed it. It was pretty exciting overall. Like, especially when we got the first clear for Ucob. It was pretty exciting. But yeah, even though those were my first clear, they were not the first time I touched an ultimate. To put it simple, I had a previous static. This is the people I'm playing with right now. Those are my second static, and I really have a ton of fun with them. But I had a static before, and they were also pretty fun. I still keep in touch with some of them. Like some people left, and it just. Basically, some people started to leave, and the wheel just stopped. That was during Absols, by the way. It's not related to Ultimates. Although, I was with that static since Asphodelos. Like, I think week 3 or 4 of Asphodelos. I was doing PF for P1 and P2. And when I cleared P2, I managed to join them. It wasn't a requirement, it's just how it happened. But yeah, and after Asphodelos, we went into our first ultimate, which was DSR. Yeah, kind of a rough one to start with, you know? But it was fun. I had a lot of fun with DSR, and even though the progress was pretty slow overall, I'm just going to put it bluntly, we never would have cleared. Well, once I learned how many pulls we had, which was insanely high, I was like, yeah, I don't think we'll ever clear, but whatever. I decided to stick because even though we had that many pulls, which I don't feel like saying, like it's kind of we had 1700 pulls and we didn't see half of the fight. Like, I think we reached I phase 3 or 4 times, maybe a bit more, but less than 10 times, that's for sure. And yeah, I don't think we'll have ever cleared with the knowledge I have now of Ultimate and what's the mentality you need for that. I don't think we will have ever cleared. I'm not pointing anyone particularly, like, but as a group, I don't think we will have cleared. But during that time, during DSR, I think for like 1 week or 2, we decided to go into Ucob as well, and it was only 2 or 3 sessions. It was pretty short, but we saw until I don't think we saw dive bombs on Nael face, but close enough. Yeah, that was my extent of knowledge for Ucob specifically before before I went in with this group when we were done with Absols. So, how long did it take us for us to get that clear in Ucob with this current group? 5 weeks? Something like that? 5 weeks of prog? I think we had like 15 nights overall, and we were progging 3 nights a week. I don't think that we skipped a night. I know in Uwu we skipped 1 or 2 nights for various reasons, but I don't think we skipped anything for Ucob. And even as saying that, like, we cleared before there was a 1 week break because some people were leaving for a week, right? So we cleared just before that. So it took us 15 nights of 3 hours of prog, so approximately 45 hours of prog for Ucob, which I think is pretty good. I don't know if that's the average. I have no idea what the average is for clearing Ucob, but 45 minutes, hours. I mean, I think it's pretty good. The prog was pretty good overall. Also, with the knowledge I had previously, that helped for me at least. Some people, I think nobody cleared Ucob, but some made some already had some prog in it. Like I think some people saw until this 10 strike trio, I believe, or maybe even Ad Face. I'm not entirely sure. I think Ad Face was new for literally everyone, but I'm not sure how far people went for those that saw more of the fight than the people that just didn't see anything. Like I saw some of it, and some people I know just didn't see anything of the fight as well. So overall, it was pretty much a fresh prog for most people, and that was pretty fun. Really appreciated that. So let's talk about what was fun for me and what was not fun for me in this fight, right? So first thing I'll say that was fun, the music. I really love the music in Ucob. Well, I say that the first phase is meh. Twintania, the music is, you hear that in multiple time and places in the game already. It's not a bad music, but it's just meh. And that's how this phase is. The whole Twintania phase is meh. But yeah, that's how it was. Nael, though, when we get to Nael, the music already gets good. I think it's the same music as in the Coil Bahamut raid from A Realm Reborn. I've never done that completely. Back in A Realm Reborn, I did the first 5 turns, but I never did the rest. But yeah, that's yeah, that's it for now. Like I like the chorus, the voices. Like I don't know, it's ominous, and yet it gets epic right after. Like I don't know, it's just really nice. And then of course Bahamut, where the answer, the song answer starts playing, and it's just everything fits perfectly with that. The mechanics fit with the music and all that. Like it's really really cool. It just gets progressively more epic, and as you get to Ad Face, like the background changes. You see Bahamut just charging up his attack while you have to deal with both Nael and Twintania at the same time. Like I don't know, the music adds to that in the sense that like it feels like you're getting near the end, and also it's getting desperate because like holy shit, that guy is about to destroy us. So I don't know, it was just very fitting. Then afterwards, I don't know exactly what that song is, but like let's call it the intermission, when we're all dead and Phoenix comes by and resurrects us. It finishes with some last lyrics from the answer, but before that, like the calm music, like it's like, oh, what's going on. It's all calm and all that, and then last brief of hope appears, everyone's resurrected, and then you get to this final answer music. No chorus, no voice, whatever, and it's just epic. The song gets faster and faster too. It's as you progress through the phase, and your nerves are all like you're tense at that point. Like you're almost in the clear. You're pretty much at the end of the fight, and the music just amplifies that much. When it comes to each phases, though, like mechanically, Twintania is very simple, right? I think that was the worst part of the fight, and it's not necessarily bad. Twintania is just insanely simple, and I think the physical range has the worst job. By worst, I mean they have to stay away and just bait the puddles. That's like a big occupation for them, like the big responsibility for them. But even then, that's pretty static. Like, it's never flexing. It's always the same thing. The only thing that changes in the phase 1 is who gets targeted. Like, when we're at the... After the second, what do you call that, hatches, who gets targeted for the puddles, right? That's random. And you have to be on your toes for that. But that's the only thing that really changes. Also, who gets targeted for the hatches, right? Also, that's also random. But well, it's random. It's only the DPS that gets targeted, I think. Maybe healers. I'm not sure. I know tanks never get targeted for hatches. So that's a flex, but it's not a big flex. Aside from that, Twintania is very static, and that's one thing I've learned recently, is that my fight, why I like a fight, is when there's a lot of flexibility in it, and also a good portion of personal responsibilities. Ucob has a lot of those. Like, it doesn't need to be that big, just enough to be interesting. And Ucob has a lot of those, but Twintania is not that. Twintania is definitely not that. It's very static, aside from who gets picked for the puddles and all that, which is still interesting enough. Like, when we get to the third area to drop the third hatches, like basically after the second hatches, anybody can get targeted for the puddles. And, you know, you have to do your movement properly if you get targeted, so that you can get back to the boss and stack with everybody else for the stack, right? And I thought, for me, that was interesting enough. But the rest of the phase is pretty meh. But it's short, so, you know, it's not that big of a deal. Like, how long was it? Like 2 or 3 minutes? It's not too long. It just gets repetitive as you you have to go through it every time you wipe, right? So, but I think that's a theme for every single ultimate. So, with the exception of DSR in some capacity, because the night phase has a checkpoint right after, but you could consider Tordon to be the true phase 1. So anyway, so that was basically phase 1. Phase 2, Nael phase. Now that's a big one. It's fast paced. There's a lot of variety. It's just an amazing phase. I really loved it. So first thing that happens, you dodge some AoEs. Like, there's only 2 variation, and it's not really a big deal. After that, there's a Nael jumps on one of the tanks, and in our clear that was me. Mitigate that, or invuln, which is what I did, invuln. And then after that, she starts dropping quotes, and debuff spawns on people and all that, and it's a glorious mess. I love it. Like, the first time you prog that, it's absolutely insane. You don't know what you're doing. And when I did it with my first group, like, even more people didn't know what to do. Like, I think with my current static, half of the people knew what to do. Me, I knew, but I still needed practice. And I think the rest just didn't know. Well, some people knew, and the rest just didn't know. And it was just a glorious mess. And with my first static, only one person actually knew, because I think they were still progging, or they cleared, I don't remember. They were progging in PF. And the rest, we didn't know what to do. And it was a glorious mess. It was actually very funny. But it is hard to prog. It's definitely hard to prog. You have to read the quotes and know what they do in the order. And if you get the debuff, what to do during that. Like, you get thunder debuff, like, you have to, in specific moments, you have to, like, you get the stack. You have to stack so that people don't die. But you have the thunder debuff. So the stack goes off, and then you have to run away from everybody, because you have the thunder and you will just kill everybody if you don't. So you really have to pay a lot of attention to your debuffs, to the quotes, to the movements. I love that phase. I absolutely love that phase. The only part I don't like is the dive bombs. I'm sure, I want to say there's a better way to solve it than what PF does and all that, because I think we did the PF strat for that, which is very static spots. it's good for like 95% of the time, maybe even higher. But there are still spots where the dragon spawns that will fuck you up. And that did happen to us a few times. And I'm sure there's a way to make it more consistent, and I want to think that you have to look at where the dragons are and like figure out alternative spots. It's annoying, and I get why people don't do that, because it's not that necessary. And if you wipe, it's a 5 or 6 minutes reset. It's not too bad. 5-6 minutes, it's not too bad. I still think it's finding a solution would be better to make it more consistent, but it's already consistent enough. Like, it's, I don't know, I think it's fine. Personally, I never had to do dive bomb except one time. I don't know how it happened, I don't remember, because usually I'm the main tank at that point, and as the main tank you will never have to do dive bombs. But there was something happened. I think I died, and I became off tank, and I had to do it. And I somehow did it properly. Like, I don't know how it works, because I studied it, but like I never practiced it, and I somehow got it right. Like, I was really happy with that. But yeah, so. And then after that, after dive bombs, there's a few nail quotes. At that point, you know how to deal with them, and it's very simple. Usually that's skipped too, but you never know what might happen during prog, and you might save it, save the run. So you might have to do some quotes from here and here, but if you've managed to do all the quotes previously, like, those are very, very easy. It's purely the quotes. There's no tethers or buff or whatever, debuff, I mean, whatever. Like, it's purely the quotes. You deal with them, and you're done. After that, it's the big one, Bahamut himself. That's the biggest phase, and I loved every moment of it. Of course, you can split that into multiple mini phases, the numerous trios, but each and single one of them were very interesting. Some were a bit more static than others, but there was still some kind of flexibility. The first one, I forgot how it's called, but you usually go to the side, you find where they spawn, and by they I mean Bahamut, Nael, and Twintania. They all spawn on the same side, and they will die in the middle of the arena, and you go to the left or right of that, with assigned position, and then you move so that the twister doesn't spawn on you, right? And then all that is very static, but it's fast. It's fast and it's short. And then you go back, and everybody has something to do. The healers, it's very static though. They have their hurt shaker, they have their static position. They will always do the same thing. But then the DPS is the biggest flex, because they have to stack, but one of them will also have a heart shaker. It's only one of the 4, so the one that has a heart shaker, they have to flex to another spot. And the tanks, well, it's not that much of a flex, but we have to grab the green tethers, and that can spawn on anyone. So sometimes there were some weird situation where me and the other tank, we had to swap. Like that. Like the other tank usually went to the west, and I went to the east, and because the way it was done, we just swapped. I don't think there's a necessity to swap, but that's how it was. Just otherwise you would clip each other. And every time we had to do that, we kind of did it without really communicating, and it was pretty cool. Like, I don't know, I just enjoyed it. It was pretty fun. After that, there's just a couple of attacks. Who cares? So that's the second trio. What was that? Oh yeah, they all spawn in 3 different corners. Like, let's say north, southwest, southeast. Find Nael and all that. You just run to Nael, and then that's when the flex happens. You're either tower or you're either stack, and then a puddle might drop on you and all that. If a puddle drops on you, just move. But you just have to know if you're tower or stack. This one is the most static, and I still enjoyed it a lot. I think it was 2 support and 2 DPS. That was towers and stack. Like basically 2 DPS and 2 support will be stacking together, and the other 4 will be each on the tower. Yeah, that was very static overall. Like once we learned it, I don't think we wiped on it much. Like it was pretty rare. After that, what was it? Oh yeah, this one we had to go on the third one. We had to go under Nael, and she will do a quote. It was either we go in and then we go out, or we go out and then we go in. And the thing is that between the two, she will jump on someone, and the in might change position. But the biggest problem was for the tanks, because we have to grab green tethers, and if it's out first, was it out first? No, if it's spread first and then in, sometimes the tethers will be very far from where we need to go, because we need each to bring the tethers in a specific position, specific hatches, so that we don't die. Otherwise we take way too much damage. And when it's really far, because it was spread in first, it happened once or twice where even with sprint I couldn't make it. But still, like I think it's one of the harder moments for tanks at that point, like when it's tank specific, because like I just said, it's far and you have to be very reactive to what's happening. I think it's one of the weaker trios. Like it's not much happening, and yet it's hard, and it's flexible, but it's not that flexible at the same time. Like it's either insanely easy, or people are spread out a bit too much and it becomes hard. That's basically how it is. Third one, that one I know, it's Evan's Fall. Now that's a big one. It's not that flexible, but you have to be very careful. It starts the same way as the first trio, where people go left and right, and then we go back in the middle after the dive, and we have to find our towers, and that's the flexible part. The towers are anywhere in the arena, well, on the other side of the arena, and we all have an assigned towers, but they can be anywhere. We even had a run where it was all on the west side. I usually take the first one on the east side. It was all on the west side, so mine was completely 180 degree away from my starting position. So it was actually pretty insane. For the people starting on the west side was easy. For the east side, that was holy shit. It was marvelous. But yeah, and after that, right after the towers, right, 2 fragments of the arena will light up, and then it will start exploding and spinning around in a direction. I love that part. It's not hard. It's pretty easy even. But I love, because holy shit, it's running behind you. It's exploding behind you. You're running away. It's like boom, 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 boom. I don't know. It feels like holy shit, I gotta run. All that. The feeling there is amazing. The first time I thought it was pretty amazing. The last time it was also pretty amazing. Like, I don't know. That the Evans Fall trio is probably one of my favorite phases in that fight. And maybe even in the whole game. I would place it really well if I were to do like a phase or mechanic tier list, which would be actually pretty hard to do. But yeah, that specific phase or mechanic or trio, whatever you call it, I loved it. I loved every single moment of it. It's challenging, but it's also, you can make it consistent. That's what I love. It's hard, but you can make it consistent. You could technically get it right every single time, and I love it. And it's also just the way it makes you feel when you're running away from all that. It's just amazing. I know I'm repeating myself, but I love that trio. I absolutely love that trio. After that, it was 10 strike. I'm not sure I like that one, actually. Like, 3 people get targeted with hatches and they explode in their black puddle. And right after that, give him a little more. Sorry. There will be a little cut there because I was well, something happened. It was pretty short, but there's a cut there, and I'm very sorry. It was supposed to be a one shot, but it's still technically a one shot. Okay, so 10 strike. I didn't like much that phase. 3 people get targeted with hatches. They explode in the black puddles, and then they run away. And 3 people will take that. That requires that part is fine, but it requires a lot of flexibility from literally everybody. Usually we still get in our comfort zone. Like usually I would take the one north, but it happened once. I had to take west, and another time I had to take east, I believe. Sorry about that. But yeah, because the way people were positioned on like it was pretty awkward, and it was a snap decision. Okay, I'm going there. Yeah, but it's the part right after that, the heart shakers. 4 people get assigned heart shakers, and they have to move immediately to the corners. Not corners, but like assigned position, which is like east, west, southwest, southeast, around those points, and they must not overlap. And it's hard. It's actually hard. After a few pull, like, okay, people go that way. Like, this people tends to get the west one. This person tends to get the southeast one. So you start to get a feel for where people are going, but you still need to flex a lot, and people need to call out what they're doing, which I think is something we didn't do enough, but it still worked out most of the time. And then once they go out, the second group of people have to go to the same corners, right? But the second group have all the time in the world to pre-assign position, so like for them it's easy. It's the first group that has a hard part of the trio. Taking back, it's not too bad. It's still not one of my favorite part of the fight. After that, it was Grand Octet, the final trio of Bahamut. That was... It's epic. It's epic. It's not as good as Heaven's Fall, but it was pretty epic. Like, you have 8 dragon... No, not 8 dragon. You have Bahamut, Twintania, Nael, and 5 dragons that will all dive somewhere in the arena. You have to dodge them. And then, at the end, you have to resolve Twintania. And the towers and twisters. People chase it with LB3. That's what we did too. I think it's pretty easy. Like, if you don't want to cheese it, I don't think it's that hard, in my opinion. But you know, you can cheese it. I think it was even cheesable back in Stormblood as well. Like, I saw videos of people cheesing it, and they're very old videos. So, you know, kind of a flaw in their fight. But yeah. And after that, ad phase. The background changes, it's all ablaze and all that, and that phase was hectic. It was pretty hectic. You have to do tank swap multiple times. Like, me and the other tank, we each had one of the ad. Like, I had Twintania, he had Nael, and then at one point we have to swap because they both put the debuff on us, and that debuff will kill us on the next autos that they do, because one does piercing damage, the other does slashing damage. Something that doesn't exist in the game anymore, really. But yeah, it was a thing back then, and it's still in the fight, which is completely fine. But yeah, aside from that, oh yeah, you have... I love the ad phase simply because everything you learn up to this point. In the Twintania phase, you learn the puddles, you learn the twisters, you learn the hatches, right? And in the Nael phase, you basically learn the quotes. And now, in the add phase, you do all of that at the same time. You will drop puddles, you will drop the hatches, you will drop the twister, and you will do the... No, you don't... Yes, you do have twisters, then you do the quotes. In the middle of the quotes, there's another twisters. After that, you swap, and you repeat that. It's like, it's very fast-paced, but it's mixing everything that you already knew from previously in the fight. And makes it in a new, interesting dance, basically. And I really, really love that. It was a bit hard to practice because it's so far in the fight. But it's also not that hard because it's all stuff that you already learned. You just need to learn the timings at that point. Like when are the twisters coming out? So do you move in advance so that, well, you don't die or kill other people, right? So yeah, so you do that. The ad phase, there's not much to say. It's just a very, very good phase that takes everything you learned in that fight and put it together for one big, I want to say finale, but of course there's another phase after that. But it's the last time you see twins, the last time you see Nael, and when they're combined like that, it was pretty good phase. Then afterwards you get a brief moment of to calm down because when you clear ad phase, of course you get to Bahamut, Golden Bahamut, and you know it's your nerves. Your nerves are, I don't know exactly how to say it, but like you're nervous, you're anxious, you're just thinking, holy shit, this is it. This is the last phase. I must not fuck this up. Because the last phase is not hard. It's not hard for one bit. But it is easy to mess up simply because of the nerves. And that, I don't know exactly how long it is, but let's say that 1 minute of intermission is perfect to calm down. You have to compose yourself. You're like, okay, calm down. This is it. Focus up. Don't forget this. Don't forget that. Like, I have this, and this time. Like, you really have to focus on that. Don't just focus on what you do personally. Don't focus about the ending. Don't focus about winning. Just focus on what you have to do. At that point, you've done everything in the fight that's difficult. You just need to perform and stay calm. Because the last phase, I'm not saying it's my favorite phase, but it's pretty epic. The music, I already talked about it, makes it even more epic. Makes it more, you want it even more. Like once you reach that phase, you want that clear. We didn't clear on the first time we got there. I think it was the second time we got there. Sorry about that, my throat. It's getting a bit dry, I guess. So I'll wrap this up quick. But yeah, once you get to that last phase, you just want the clear. You just want it so bad you can taste it. And when you finally get it, it's magnificent. It feels so good. You're free. After 45 hours, you're free. So yeah, it's just a very simple phase. Like there's 3 mechanics. You stack with the people, you do the thing busters, which hits insanely hard, and the extra flares, which is where most people fuck up the extra flares, but it's really not that hard. Just a little tip I'll throw out there: stick to the wall. Stick to the wall, close to the extra flares that's about to pop out, and as soon as it pops out, just run behind it. The second you hit will not hit you. And even if like you are on the second set of extra flares, as soon as the first one explodes, you can just go behind it. The second one will not hit you right away. The second set goes off after the second one explodes. After the second explosion of the first set of extra flares explodes. So you really have a lot of time to move. It's really not that bad. You just have to be on point. And even if like you're a melee and you don't go, you go away from the boss, it's not a big deal. It's better to be safe than greedy, because if you're greedy, you lose the buff, the damage buff, which is a big deal. And well, the time you're dead, you're not DPSing. So yeah. So overall, what do I think about this whole fight? Amazing. I really love Ucob. It was very fun. The prog was fun. The whole fight was pretty amazing, aside from a few places here and there, but they don't detract from the fact that the whole thing was amazing. The feeling was great. Like the whole thing feels very epic. Like for a first ultimate, they nailed it. The only thing I'd say is a flaw was what was it? The limit break 3 cheese for Grand Octet. Even then, I wouldn't consider it that much of a flaw. It's still a flaw to me, but it doesn't make it bad per se. It just, you know, I think it's hard. They make it harder now for more recent ultimates to cheese, but I don't know. I haven't tried top, and I don't think there was any cheese in DSR. I haven't checked T at all as well, so I wouldn't know about this one. But yeah, if you guys never done an ultimate, but you've done Savages and you want to step up, people recommend Uwu. I'd recommend it too, but I personally did not like Uwu. I will talk about that in another video, but I did not like that fight. It's not because it's hard, it's actually pretty easy. It's other reasons. But yeah, aside from Uwu, like Ucob, I definitely recommend it. It's a hard fight, but it is so rewarding. I loved it. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed that little talk. I really wanted to talk about that for a little bit, and when we cleared the Uwu recently, I was like, oh, let's do that. Let's try to do that. I'll do one for Uwu soon. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.